I asked 99 fellow professional wrestlers one question, and I've tallied up all the results, and the answers are next on Till We Make It. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are passionate about the craft of professional wrestling and you're never done learning all about it, then you've landed in the exact right place, my friend. What are you waiting for? Go ahead, join the Till We Make It tribe. Subscribe right now. For today's video, I reached out to 99 fellow working pros in the world of wrestling. These are people who are currently actively performing in a ring. And I got a really wide sampling of gender, age, demographic, everything you can think of. No one younger than 19, no one older than 58. And I managed to cover 5 continents while doing my little survey, which makes me feel like I need more wrestle friends on the continent of Africa. And also, Antarctica?
You elude me.
I tallied up all the results from asking this one question, which was inspired by a podcast I really enjoyed over the years called Improv Nerd, hosted by Chicago comedian Jimmy Carrane. This podcast has been going on for a long time. They actually haven't put out a new episode in a while. But I came to realize the part of his podcast I loved best is when he and his guest would sit down and they would talk about their creative process, how they created a scene on stage, how they created a character, how they drove the scene to its conclusion when all of it is extemporaneous. They're making it up on the spot. That's the beauty of improvisational comedy. And I thought, how could I bring a little bit of that to what I'm doing here on Till We Make It? How could I bring some of that same intriguing insight here to you? And so I reached out to 99 of my coworkers and colleagues, my proteges and my peers, and I asked them the same question. I asked them this: when you have to put a match together, where do you start? What is the thing you do first? And I'm going to tell you exactly what they had to say. Before we dive in, I need your help. My goal for this year is to reach 100 patrons over on Patreon. So if you'd like to help me keep Till We Make It a weekly channel here on YouTube, I need your patronage. Follow the link that's down below. In the descriptus, you can join our community for as little as $5 a month, and you'll start unlocking well over 650 exclusive posts. That includes more than 125 videos you'll never see here on the channel. It includes my book excerpts, my essays, my podcasts, and so much more, like access to our Discord server and early ad-free access to the videos that end up here on the channel. Check it out. Jump on that link right now. We need your help. All right, without further ado, about 13% of the professional wrestlers I asked, and I'm saying about 13% because each of these had like an annoying little decimal behind them and I just rounded that right off. About 13% of the pro wrestlers I asked, where do you start when you're putting a match together, told me they start by finding out what the business of the match is. Or another way of looking at that is, what is the larger goal for the match as set forth by the organization? And that might include things like, we're trying to build up a new challenger for our championship. We are trying to build equity in a new finishing move. This is the start of a 7-match series that will climax a year from now in a 3-on-3 match. What is the larger point here so that we can make sure to structure for it at every stage of the creative process? 13% of working pros said they need to understand the business of the match first, and then they can go about putting it all together. And 15% of the pro wrestlers I've talked to said they like to begin their process by understanding the character dynamic or character values. So what does that mean exactly? Well, character dynamic means, is this a face versus a heel? Or is it a heel versus a heel? A face versus a face? What exactly is that character dynamic? That certainly helps illuminate the creative process. Or there's specific character values. Understanding if this character is all about speed and this character is all about technique, what is it going to be like when you put those two together in the ring? And furthermore, when considering character, you also have to look at the gimmicks of the characters. How might that further color the creative process if you're taking into account showcasing each individual gimmick? So characters is where 15% of currently working pros start their creative process. This next one can be tricky, so listen carefully. 21% of the working pros I asked about their creative process say they like to begin with the story of the match. Here's the thing. For some respondents, that means, what is the match about? Is it a story about the back? Is it a story about the left arm? Because this clarifies the type of mechanics, the moves and spots that they're going to choose when they understand the focal point of the physical story. But for others, it was not so much about the physicality of the match as it is about the plot. For example, is one wrestler constantly distracted by the flirtations of their opponent's ringside valet? What plot points have to be considered? But these things all kind of fell under the larger umbrella of story. For 21% of working pros out there, they need to understand the story of the match first. Everything else comes second. And the other 51%, they all told me the exact same thing. 51%, a majority of currently working pros, they get the finish from the booker and then design their match in reverse. Once they know the destination, they know what they're aiming at, and that makes assembly of the match's mechanics, the moves, the spots, etc., and its structure so much easier when they know what it is that they are heading for. So for the majority of working pros out there, it's as simple as knowing the end point and then assembling their match in reverse. This next part is really powerful, and I think it's something that isn't being said enough right now in wrestling. When you choose mechanics, moves, spots, counters, reversals, etc., to populate your match, and they are all in service to the finish that's been given to you by the booker or the creative team, then you are showing up to work in service to the match, in service to the people who are putting you in the ring, hiring you, giving you ring time. That's the true work of being a professional wrestler. But when you make choices, mechanically, performatively, that please you first and foremost, just things that you like to do in the ring, regardless of whether or not they support the finish, then you're showing up to work in service to your ego first, and to the match and the organization second. If a deeper understanding of how wrestling matches are assembled, how a pro wrestling card is constructed, is what you crave next, then grab my book, Toolbox, Building Better Pro Wrestling. It's available through Amazon.com worldwide, or you can listen to the audiobook over on Audible. Or click on the video appearing on screen right now. It's going to take you to a playlist I've assembled of all the videos on this channel about wrestling psychology. And on your way out the door, leave a like-a-palooza on this video, would you please? It does help.